reckon you're from round here? Well, stuck outside on a night of the hunt. Oh, you poor, poor thing.
Now, the iconography isn't based directly on any real-world religion, but you can see that they've kind of got Mary Magdalene or Virgin Mary-esque statues on some of these areas.
I don't reckon you're from...
Yeah. But, those people in there are having some sort of a party, I guess, or they're just going crazy. Anyhow, religion is a heavy theme in this game. We haven't quite reached any of the churches or cathedrals yet, but once we do, it'll become more apparent how deeply entrenched into their lives Yarnum and potentially other parts of this world are deal with faith. When this urn hits its mark, the target is drenched in oil and made extremely flammable. Fire is commonplace on the hunt, and oil urns accentuate its effect. Sometimes when hunters burn beasts, they appear intoxicated by the euphoria of purification. Now these oil urns, throw them, then hit the enemy with some sort of fire attack, say a Molotov cocktail, and they will take additional damage. The enemies we just killed here are known as carrion crows. The reason they are so large in comparison, obviously, to real life is that these crows live in Yarnum, a place, as I've spoken to before, is just filled with death, disease, and all manner of unpleasantness. They have grown fat on eating corpses and all sorts of other dead, rotting things that are just left about on the city streets and whatnot. So they can't fly anymore, but they don't really need to, because when you're this big and the food is free and everywhere, why bother? More of this pseudo-religious iconography here. Screaming maidens doing a sort of prayer gesture for this fountain. It's a pretty common motif around here. Now, this creature is known as a hunter minion. They work alongside the civilian hunters of the Yarnum, and most people refer to him as a brick troll. I'm not sure where that got started, but that is not their official name. And now, should things go right, let's look at visceral attacks. Oop, not with that move. Oh no. Ah, crap. He got me. No big deal. We'll be back there pretty quickly. I was hoping to show off visceral attacks and parries, but did not happen. This will be a lot faster now that I'm not stopping to explain anything. this is worth anything. It's farming some items. And also to show you can just bypass a lot of these people. Which we're, you know what, screw it, that's what we're gonna do. At least where possible. And like that, we're back. Here's our boy that goes. Oh, almost had it. Alright, we're gonna do this, right? There we go. That is a visceral attack. Torch. And more Molotov cocktails. Now, a torch is a left-hand weapon. Do not use it for damage. It's great for lighting up areas and some other uses. A common torch formed by wrapping a pine resin drenched cloth around the end of a long stick. Hunters choose torches not only because the hunt leads them to darkest nooks, but also because certain creatures they encounter are possessed of a deathly fear of flame. Now, we can equip this, and by simply pressing left on a D-pad, I can switch to it. It has an attack animation. It's great for when necessary. But for the most part, it's not useful. See, doesn't do a whole lot of damage. There are certain enemies it is very useful against, however. Now, these, as I was speaking to earlier, before I was rightfully destroyed, hunters, they're known as hunters' minions, and they're not quite human, but they do have some weird bestial traits. Like, they seem to be some sort of weird, like, genetic project, almost. There's actually some explanation for that as we get further on, too. It should be noted that they're kind of human, not quite, and they're very slow and dim-witted. They're kind of just more or less pointed at a target and told to go. Usually holding a brick as a weapon. Cold Blood.2. Dogs in this game actually do, if they're close enough, they will alert the roving packs of enemies. Try not to get cornered by them. Like I'm about to do now. Alright, heal up. firewood. Blood files, sorry, not file blood. That's a different thing. Ooh, love that wind. Now, some more Scourge Beast. Unlike the first one we fought, these are at full health. So we, if at all possible, only try to get the attention of one at a time. That's not how. And they're great for blood vial farming. Expect them to attack. Visceral attacks have to be performed, like this. They have to be done as a counter. You can't just, for the most part, you can't just spam them, expect them to work. You get that free, very powerful attack. Now, before we go down that way, which is very important, we're going over here. There's quite a decent variety of these citizen hunters. Kind of just form their own roving gangs. Aren't affiliated with the church hunters like you are. Just a rounded up posse out here to kill the beast problem. Another appreciated detail. Unlike in Dark and Demon Souls, the enemies actually talk to you instead of just random roars and grunts. At least here in Yharnam. Alright. It's been a few years, but finally getting back in the swing of that. But there's an item. But what they don't expect you to notice is the old, decrepit enemy here who will shoot you as soon as you get into his line of fire. He's meant to blend into the environment a bit. Old weirdo people with guns. Pretty much all they got. But they will kill you first chance they give them. So you give them. So don't let them do that. When the hunt began, the healing church left us, blocking the great bridge to Cathedral Ward as old Yharnam burned to the ground that moonlit night. Now, we just picked up a punch and blood cocktail. Rather perfect because it was a trap from that old guy in the wheelchair. Pungent blood cocktail. Mature blood cocktail that releases a pungent odor when thrown that attracts bloodthirsty beasts. A precious tool in sadly short supply. In Yharnam, they produce more blood than alcohol, as the former is the more intoxicating. There's bloodthirsty and then there's this. Yharnam, not the greatest place to live. Or visit, for that matter. So we've opened up one shortcut area. Or well, we're about to get rid of this guy. Stone shard, very nice. Sorry, just testing out some controls there. Another bit in your weapon arsenal that I neglected to mention is tapping forward on the left stick and R2 does a leaping jump attack. something they add with the original Dark Souls, and has been nothing but helpful since. Alright, more hunter minions. Unless they got, like, sort of, bandaged up appearance. Oh, crap. Again. It's really difficult to tell, but, when you do those visceral attacks, you reach into your enemy and sort of, like, rip out some general flesh and organ bits and blood and the like. But when your hand comes out, it's actually shrinking because it is got its own sort of werewolf visual style to it. It is becoming bestial to perform that powerful visceral attack. I wish this game had photo mode so I could get a nice, good look at it for you. With enemies you know they're gonna drop blood vials anyway, go ahead and use them. And that door that didn't open? Now it is. Shortcut. That's another shortcut, but we will not be opening it quite yet. Because we can't from this side. The area with the first hunter minion has all those coffins up top there, and if you roll through them or break them in any way, you can just take a shortcut down here as well. These dogs in the cages, they're decoration dogs. They die in one hit, but they do offer full experience points, which is nice. That was called Bloodborne 3. It has it gives you more blood echoes upon use. We'll be saving those, or if and when we need them. There's no point in taking them until you're using them to buy something or level up, because you could die and lose them.
You're a hunter, aren't you? Then, well, do you know of any safe places?
Sorry, I do not, but we will be back once I do. Well, I know of them now, but this character does it. Time to meet one of the best characters in this game.
Oh, a hunter, are you? And an outsider? What a mess you've been caught up in. And tonight of all nights. Here, to welcome the new hunter.
Bold hunter's mark.
Prepare yourself for the worst. There are no humans left. They're all flesh-hungry beasts now. Still lingering about. What's wrong? A hunter unnerved by a few beasts? No matter. without fear in our hearts. We're little different from the beasts themselves. What are you still doing here? Enough trembling in your boots. A hunter must hunt. What are you still... A hunt...
Alright, she gave us two things. First off, 4 bold hunter's mark. Awaken anew without losing blood echoes. Dangling upside down rune etched in the mind of the hunter. The image upon this parchment allows one to envision the rune with clarity. Allows the hunter to awaken again without losing blood echoes. A trick that seems nearly too good to be true. And it isn't. It actually is that good. This is the equivalent of Homeward Bound or the Miracle from Dark Souls. This allows you to head back to your last lamp without wasting any of your blood echoes. It is very useful. Let's see. She has just given us a gesture. And we will be switching that to this one. Shake off cape. One of my personal favorites. We have a whole bunch of gestures, but we're not gonna waste too much time with them right quite yet. Pt.2. Check around for any more items. I don't think there are any more up here, but it's been 3 years since I last played this. I'm gonna look. Alright. Good to know. Now, see if we can get a drop attack on somebody. Make this a little easier. Nope. Oh, kind of. As you can see, these guys have progressed in beasthood much further. Again, sadly, no photo mode to get some real good shots of them. Let go of it. Also, for the most part, I do honestly wish Bloodborne, Dark Souls, and all games like this had, at least when you're in offline mode, at least let you have some form of a pause. I mean, I understand why it's not there for when you're playing online and you can have people invade your game and whatnot. But if I'm choosing to play offline, then at least give me a pause button. Preferably a photo mode so I can admire the details and whatnot. But a pause button would be nice. Though technically they do let you just quit anywhere and you'll reload back where you're standing, but not quite the same. Another benefit of visceral attacks, if you have any rally in your HP bar and you manage to land one, you regain it all at once instead of having to do so many multiple strikes. Yeah, I can't have you. Well, take... Oh, okay. That was pretty badass. Didn't even realize he saw me until I turned around and saw him. And also, case in point. That's a new weapon. Oh no. Ah, crap. Alright. That worked out. Throw a knife. Saw spear. One of the trick weapons of the workshop, commonly used by those who dedicate themselves to the hunt. This saw, effective at drawing the blood of beasts, transforms into a medium-range spear. The saw, with its blood-laying teeth, has become a symbol of the hunt, and only grows in effectiveness the more grotesquely transformed the beasts. And throwing knife. Throwing knife with a finely serrated blade, one of the old hunter Henrik's favorite weapons, does not cause a great deal of damage to beasts, but with deft use can distract attackers and keep them at bay. It's pretty much a pebble that does a little more damage. Put the saw spear there, because why not? Give a look at that. Basic R1, acts a lot like the saw cleaver. R2 is pretty much exactly the same. Transform. The first strike of this is a nice wide sweeping attack, unlike the saw cleaver's transform state. And I'm pretty certain that both states of this do some nice serrated damage against beasts. R2 is a stab, and then of course the charge up, transform attack. Madman's knowledge. Now that is important. Very important. Skull of a madman touched by the wisdom of the Great Ones, used to gain insight. Making contact with eldritch wisdom is a blessing, for even if it drives one mad, it allows one to serve a grander purpose for posterity. Now, we're going to use that, actually. Notice the little, like, sort of miniature galaxy around that, and how you absorbed it into your head.